And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the Valley of the Judged. I am your one and only gaming monk, better known as Mildra, and with me I have my good brothers and sisters here in the temple. We have the man behind the Wanderer's Library, good brother Sig.
Hello, everybody. Hope you're all having a wonderful evening.
And our chaotic gremlin dragon, who is occasionally the subject of the wrath of cats. Good sister Tabby.
Occasionally, I'm pretty sure is understatement. My shoulder totally hurts right now.
Yeah, that is the price you pay for being the bed of one of the cats.
Yeah, he decided my shoulder was a ladder today.
But now, obviously, this is the grand finale of our lengthy coverage of Drawsteel. When Crack the Sun wraps up and is starting to be sent out, maybe we'll revisit it then. But if it's just for one class, I don't think I'm going to. Well, then again, we did whole episodes on individual classes, so maybe. Since, for a bit of context, at the time we are streaming this, there was a crowdfund campaign for Drawsteel called Crack the Sun, which is including a bunch of different things within it. A few adventures, a encounters book, which we won't cover if I get it, because it's just a set of pre-made encounters. There's not a whole lot to dissect with that. Between Sun and Shadows, which is going to be adding 8 new ancestries. The Beastheart class, which they describe as a stealthy, ferocious hunter with your own pet buddy. So I'd say the Beastheart is going to be this game's equivalent to a ranger. But given what we saw with the classes in the core book, making that comparison probably is going to be selling it short at the time we get it. Along with a couple adventures, the Red Road, as well as the Dark Heart of the Wood. Both of them are second level quests. A third level one called The Condemned for anti-heroes, and a epic campaign called Crack the Sun. Which they're describing as starting out in high fantasy and going straight into Metal Hurlant nonsense. Which would certainly fit the full 10 levels that we saw with the different classes. And so far, that particular crowdfund, they were asking for 1.2 million. They're currently at 1.7 million with 23 days to go. In the interest of full disclosure, that includes a few dollars from yours truly. But last week we got through the last of the Heroes book. And for this finale, we're going to be delving a little bit into the Monsters book, but not going into the full bestiary. because I never go into full bestiaries with these things, since there's not a whole lot to dissect about individual monsters in the way that we dissect everything else. So, first off, it is a big ass book. It's 385
Yep.
pages,
Yeah.
and there's quite a few. So the first thing that we're going to get into is monster basics. So, go. And obviously, this is a director book. It is they call it monsters, but it's pretty much a fusion of a GM's guide and monster manual. But first, they go into the purpose of monsters, and thank you for the follow, Lithium Hex. Hope you enjoy the madness that happens around here. But one of the things that they go into that they bolded here is a monster stat block represents a moment in time. I see that they use the smug Gilgamesh. It is an imperfect translation of a creature while they act as an enemy in opposition to one or more heroes. Basically, this is them saying that the stat blocks are not going to contain every bit of information on a monster because that would be pointless. Which I can see that. And then we have a bit more advice on how to use monsters and the term for it, and the remark of everyone loves zombies. But first we have the basics. So languages, if it knows at least one language, this is where it's going to be. The keywords, which are going to be the primary descriptors. Thank you. But the general keywords of abyssal, accursed, animal, beast, construct, dragon, elemental, fey, giant, horror, humanoid, infernal, ooze, plant, soulless, swarm, and undead. You could kind of see these as the types. The keyword doesn't do anything on its own, but it can proc into other things. Now, after that, there is the encounter value. Each one has an encounter value that's used for building encounters. We'll get to that when we get to step-by-step encounter building. The creature's free strikes. When a director-controlled creature makes a free strike, they don't roll. Instead, their stat block notes a free strike representing the amount of damage they deal with either of the following: a melee free strike with a distance of 1, or the melee distance of the creature's signature ability, whichever is higher, or a ranged free strike with a distance of 5, or the ranged distance of the creature's signature ability, whichever is higher. Free strikes have the strike keyword as well as the magic, psionic, or weapon keywords if those are found in the signature ability. Additionally, the creature's signature ability, if it deals a certain type of damage, the free strike also uses that damage type. Now, they state free strikes are a static number for 2 reasons. First, it keeps gameplay fast. You don't have to stop play to roll dice, and there's no chance of a creature rolling a critical hit and bogging things down further when it isn't their turn. Second, by keeping those static values relatively low, heroes are encouraged to take more risks when it really counts, even if that might result in them taking damage from a free strike. And Liz says, roll to see if I'm getting drunk. Nope, not yet. This isn't Dead Ale Wise Society.
Today.
But Then we have the signature ability, as mentioned, as well as traits, features that don't require a main action, maneuver, or a triggered action to activate. And then Malice. Malice will be important later, but you can kind of put two and two together if you've seen the previous streams. As well as an end effect. Certain creatures have the ability to take damage in order to end one effect on them that can be ended by a saving throw. The damage the creature takes to end an effect can't be reduced in any way. So instead of having to roll for a saving throw, they can just take a minor hit and have that effect end. It's a nice way to smooth things along.
Mm-hmm. Makes things go by quicker.
Mm-hmm. So then we have villain actions. A creature with villain actions always has 3. Each one can only be used once per encounter, and no more than 1 villain action can be used per round. This holds even if you have 2 or more creatures with villain actions in an encounter, though that should be rare. A creature can use a villain action at the end of any other creature's turn during combat. Villain actions are numbered and intended to be used in a specific order that creates a logical encounter flow and cinematic arc, but you can use them in any order you choose. The first is an opener. The second is usually crowd control, and the third is usually an ultimate move or an alt. In that regard, I feel like villain actions come across what lair and legendary actions were supposed to be, but the ball got fumbled.
Oh wait, you mean I'm not supposed to just use my legendary actions like all the time, and legendary resistances and legendary everything, and oh, here's a layer action plus all the other things, and I can do that every single time that I do anything?
At least it's not like Planet Apocalypse where you get all that on top of an additional mechanic called shadow actions.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, and then you've got, you know, the epic campaigns where you have mythic actions too.
Mm-hmm.
My players didn't really like it whenever I was, you know, oh, wait, what do you mean Tiamat's legendary action is just using a breath weapon that'll kill me in one shot? I don't get it.
Mm-hmm. I do remember watching one stream where somebody seemed to imply that I should have used something like layer or legendary actions for boss and end boss tier NPCs.
What'd you think of the vampire I made?
The big reason I didn't is because I felt that was gimmicking gimmicks, and I wanted a universal structure. When it came to how NPCs were built, so that if somebody wants to add in those kind of events, they can do them on a contextual basis instead of there being a system. And also, I'm not a big fan of how a lot of legendary actions render a PC's action completely pointless. Like, I rolled really well and I did a hell of a lot of damage. So how much damage do I do total?
0.
That it just seems like such a time waster. The worst part.
You mean you don't like rolling 0? Come on.
Well, let me rephrase that. It feels like a time waster when that can happen in a form where you're not taking an intentionally bad decision. Like if you cast fire on a bomb and you do fuck all in terms of damage, well, yeah, you've got only yourself to blame for using fire. But so then we have the organization of creatures, and this is something we've kind of gone into. It is a tier setup. I will note a lot of this is very familiar to me as a longtime 4E player. So first off, we have minions. They're meant to threaten en masse and die quickly.
Fodder. Got it.
Yep. So these would be zombie shotgunners.
The more, yeah, I would say the zombies, the shotgunners, maybe chain gunners, although those are kind of elites
I would not say
in a sense.
chain. I'd say
Chain gunners are platoon.
minions.
No, I'd say they're more.
Minions is zombie men and imps. Remember, treat with shotgun. Your problems persist. Treat with more shotgun.
Like the freaking liver action I was using last night.
But so then we have hordes. These tend to work in smaller groups, but it still takes more than one of these to effectively threaten a single hero. These are basically your swarmers.
Mhm.
As far as if I'm using an analogy, your swarm of bees, maybe the choking hands, or lost souls.
Oh, it is so good that you don't blame my Castles campaign, because you'd see a lot of those.
But
He's a dick when it comes to lost souls.
so was Ed when they came up with the monster.
Mm-hmm.
But
They just want hugs, okay?
I'll give them hugs with plasma and buckshot. But then you have platoons, organized and self-sufficient armies, well-rounded organizations well equipped to handle most combat objectives. A single platoon creature is a decent threat to a hero of the same level, so an encounter consisting entirely of these creatures typically has one per hero. Often fight alongside minions and an elite creature or two to round out their ranks. So
That's why I was thinking chain gunners.
Chain gunners maybe, but I'd say pinkies.
Mm-hmm.
Pinkies.
I only say chain gunners because literally if you were to have like 5 people, you can have 5 chain gunners and it would be like 1 per and it would actually work. So that was why I was thinking that.
Yeah. Although it ultimately depends. Now, if we're talking chain gunners in Plutonia, that's definitely platoon.
Man, did you see the chain gunners in Unseen Evil? They dual wield.
As chain gunners should, with chain guns, the best weapon.
And anyway.
Back on topic.
Yeah, then we have elites, the functional opposite of minions. An elite is hardy and you can usually stand up to 2 heroes of the same level. Elites have a high encounter value. They work well with individually supporting monsters of other modes of organization, but multiple elites can be as effective as a band on their own. So this is where we get the big dick entries. Your Hell Nobles, your Cyber Demon, your Arachnotrons.
I'd say Cyber Demon's more of like a leader, to be honest.
And of
So
course,
your heavies.
yeah, and your Mancubus, and of course, Archviles. Actually, I take that
I'd
back.
say
Archviles higher up. Leader is the next higher up, which can utilize villain actions and stand toe-to-toe with 2 or more heroes. I'd say this is where you'd put like Spider Mastermind.
Yeah, the bosses, definitely.
Yeah, I'd say all the bosses go in leader.
And
except for like
Solo, which is described as an encounter all their own. That would be your
the Icon of Sin.
Your Icon of Sin. Maybe your Marauder, even though you do fight multiple Marauders.
I still fucking hated that in Ancient Gods Part 2. Ugh.
Your Doom Hunter, and of course the Archvile.
You're gonna put Archvile in Solo? I mean, like there are. I would put it more in leader.
Absolutely, I would put it in Solo.
They are.
I'm
they're
just saying.
a priority target when they show up.
Well, here's the reason I say the Archvile should be leader is because they buff their allies and grant them additional actions by resurrecting them. Therefore, they are like, I mean, yes, they hurt on their own, but they're more dangerous if they're leading a crew.
Which is why they're good as. Which is why they would be better classified as solo.
But then we have the creature roles. I should note what I'm seeing. What I'm seeing here isn't far removed from what I saw in fourth. Back in fourth edition, for instance, a beholder was treated as a solo. They are meant to. They're meant to be bosses taking on a whole party by themselves.
Yep.
Yeah, with the multiple eyes.
But with roles, we have a lot of these roles are very similar to roles that I saw in both 4th edition and the free game Heroes Against Darkness, which is actually pretty good and was the first review I ever did. So if you want to go way back into memory lane, go back and listen to my terrible sound editing. But we have ambushers who can slip by beefier heroes to reach squishier targets. So
Hell Knights.
Specters.
Yep. Artillery, fighting from afar, can use their abilities at a distance. Yep. Imp.
Handgunners.
Yep. Brutes, hardy creatures with lots of stamina and deal lots of damage. Pinkies.
Barons.
I'd say Pinkies and post 3 Hell Knights.
Oh, yes.
I mean, I would also go with Barons because they're in a lot of different areas.
But, see, then Controllers, creatures who change the battlefield, often with magic or psionics.
Archviles.
Summoners, Archviles.
Let's see, then Defenders can take a lot of damage and can force enemies to attack them instead of squishier targets.
Tyrants.
Harriers, mobile types who use hit and run tactics.
The zombie shotgunners and the zombie people's soldiers use.
I'd also say Shamblers.
Shamblers and Doom Hunters and
Revenants.
Yeah, definitely Revenants, and also Vagaries.
Yep. Then we have Hexers, which are debuffers but tend to be squishy.
Summoners.
Yeah.
And Archviles.
Let's see. Then Mounts, which are self-explanatory. Pinkies in the Dark
Those
Ages.
are the dragons.
Oh, yes.
The dragons.
And support are ones that support allies by providing buffs.
Archviles.
Summoners, any defender demon, which could be a variety of different things.
Yep.
And Archviles.
Honestly, okay, I'm gonna say that all of the roles we just gave Archvile, put them more in the leader role, or below even. Just saying.
Well, leader is.
I'm just reading what
is
the leader
organization, not role.
There's no additional role, creature role.
But, and when it comes to creatures who defend, if a creature takes the defend action, they can't take additional main actions on their turn. That means if they've already taken a main action on their turn, they also can't take defend. This applies if the creature is granted an additional main action on their turn, unless they're specifically granted that. So, you can't really turtle, is the vibe I'm getting with this. When it comes to creatures that can grab, they can only have one creature or object grabbed at a time unless their stat box says otherwise. If the creature has grabbed the maximum number of targets, the ability or trait that they use to grab can't be used against another target unless you release an already grabbed target. Let's see, when it comes to creatures that summon, Unless otherwise specified, a summoned creature takes their turn immediately after the summoner. Once a creature summons another creature, they can't do so again until the start of the summoner's next turn. Then you have creatures that can heal via damage, which works exactly how it sounds like. Now, if it heals, this ability deals damage to multiple targets. The creature only regains stamina equal to 1 instance of damage. So basically, no drain stacking. And then we get to Malice. Malice is essentially the monster equivalent of the heroic resources we covered when we went through all of the classes. Now, at the start of combat, you gain Malice equal to the average number of victories per hero. Then, at the start of each combat round, you gain Malice equal to the number of heroes in the battle, plus the combat round number. For example, if 5 heroes with 3 victories each are just starting their first combat round, you begin combat with 9 Malice. 3 for the average number of victories, I'm assuming round down until I see otherwise. 5 for the number of heroes, and 1 for the first round of combat. At the start of the next round, provided the heroes are still alive, you gain 7 Malice. 5 for the number of heroes, plus 2 for the second round. As long as none of the heroes is taken out of the fight, you gain 8 Malice the next round. Then 9 Malice the round after that, and so on. If a hero dies, they stop generating Malice for you. At the end of an encounter, any unused Malice is lost. It is up to you whether you want to show the players how much Malice you have. And monsters can spend Malice the way heroes spend heroic resource. I feel like the absurdly fast amount of Malice gained is because a hero gaining their heroic resource is just accounting for themselves. Malice is accounting for the entire opposition, which means a bunch of things that can eat into that pool.
So basically illustrating they can kill you, but you can kill most of them just as fast.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a decent trade-off.
Yeah. Now, several creatures will have unique effects that require Malice. It'll usually say as such. You won't be able to spend Malice on every single option in a given encounter has to offer. It's up to you how you deploy Malice. But there are a few basic Malice features. So you can activate one of the following features. Brutal Effectiveness, which costs 3 Malice. The monster digs into the enemy's weak spot. The next ability the monster uses with a potency has that potency increased by 1. Oof. Or Malicious Strike, which costs 5 plus Malice. Their next strike deals extra damage to one target equal to the monster's highest characteristic score. The extra damage increases by 1 for each additional Malice spent on this feature to a maximum of 3 times their highest characteristic. This feature can't be used 2 rounds in a row, even by different monsters. That's particularly nasty.
Mm-hmm.
So it's plus 1 damage as a buy-in, and an additional 1 for every point spent after the initial 5 points. Though they do give a bit of advice that you should only need to prepare 3 Malice features for any given encounter, or 4 if you're using multiple monster types and bands. Just pick one feature that costs 2 to 3 Malice, one that costs 5, and one that costs 7 to 10, and you should be covered. Let's see, then we have the use of minions. Usually they're organized into squads. Minions have a low stamina pool, but it can be shared. Each squad of minions shares a stamina pool, with initial stamina equal to the individual minion's stamina, multiplied by the number of minions in the squad. Whenever one of the minions takes damage, the squad's stamina pool is reduced instead. This does mean that minions can't be winded, but they also can't regain stamina and can't get temp stamina. When the stamina pool is reduced by an amount equal to one individual minion's stamina, one minion dies or is otherwise taken out. Which I think is a good way to track a bunch of minions' HP without having it be one-hit kills. Minions were one-hit kills in 4th edition. They just had 1 HP. But here they have a shared pool, so at the very least they're not complete wimps. They're just mostly.
I'd have them jib just for fun.
You'd probably have EKG turned on.
Probably.
Now, of course, if they get hit with an AoE and that does enough damage to account for multiple stamina values of minions, then multiple ones drop. And because of that, minion squads are very susceptible to area effects. And though on the other hand, when it comes to weakness and immunity, that only applies once, even if multiple ones would share that effect. But minions tend to act as a whole group. They have usually some sort of squad action. They do have a limited set of maneuvers. They can use grab, hide, knockback, and search. And they can do unified free strikes. But a particular minion can be treated as the captain, who takes their turn at the same time as minions, but isn't limited in their action as minions are, and their stamina isn't added to the minion squad's pool. Although I do like that they put in a rule of transferring the captain by calling it, "I'm the captain now."
Look at me! I am the captain now.
Then we get into encounter building. And it looks like instead of CR, you're doing encounter building based on a encounter budget, essentially. This was not far removed from how 4th edition did things, and I very much appreciate it. I also like that they make clear it's not science. I think some people in various games could learn that very quickly, that this is still a game, not a science experiment.
But what if? I'm sorry, I'll go see myself out.
You do that. And Hydra, I'm not going to do the Starscream voice, I'm just going to say this is bad comedy. Besides, we all know what happened the last time Starscream became leader.
Yeah, he got murked.
But after thinking about the encounter, then you choose the encounter's difficulty. So we have
I'm sorry.
trivial, which is going to be curb stomping. They say, think 10th level heroes taking on a small horde of typical kobolds.
I'm still stuck on step 1 being think. That's the fact that they had to spell that out is okay now.
Yep. Then easy encounters, which are typically going to be worth 1 victory. Same with standard encounters. A hard encounter, which is going to be something that should be putting your life in real peril should be worth 2 victories, and extreme encounters should be worth at least 2 victories.
Hey, where the hell did they get my playbook?
But then determine encounter strength. This is a benchmark for buying monsters for your encounter. So encounter strength is based on each hero's encounter strength. This starts at a baseline of 4. You add 2 for each level of the hero. So a 3rd level hero has an encounter strength of 10. Then you add the encounter strength of all heroes together, and that's your encounter strength. This means a group of 5 3rd level heroes has an encounter strength of 50. Each retainer or other NPC fighting alongside the heroes counts as a hero when determining encounter strength. If a 3rd level retainer or NPC fights alongside the heroes, they count as a 3rd level hero. And it just says, finally, step 1 should always be think. So often I hear is, what were you thinking? No, ask if he was thinking at all.
That's why step 1 is think.
Mm-hmm.
But make sure, it's not science, it's a game. Don't overthink, just think.
Mm-hmm.
Sig. Oh.
But we have a nice little...
You say this as if I should be offended.
No, I'm just drinking pop.
But I do like this little chart that we have for calculating the encounter strength of a party. Going from hero level on one axis and number of heroes on the other. But you also have to factor in victories. For every 2 victories the heroes have earned on average, increase the party's encounter strength as if there were another hero in the party. For instance, a party of 3rd level heroes has 2 or 3 victories each, increase the encounter strength by 10. If they have 6 victories each, increase it by 30. Be careful that the larger encounter strength doesn't lead you to using more creatures than recommended. It's usually better to use higher cost creatures in an encounter rather than extra creatures when increasing encounter strength because of victories. Since you can rarely predict the exact order in which the heroes will face encounters, it helps to keep a list of monsters with an EV cost worth roughly the encounter strength of 2, 4, and 6. Victories that make sense for the adventure you're running. You can then easily drop or swap these creatures into an encounter on the fly. Then determine encounter budget. So this is where the difficulty comes in. Trivial encounters have a budget that's anything less than the party's encounter strength minus the encounter strength of one hero. Easy encounters have anything less than the party's encounter strength but more than the budget for a trivial. Standard encounters have a budget that's between the party's encounter strength and the encounter strength plus the encounter strength of one hero. Hard encounters have a budget greater than a standard, but no more than encounter strength plus the encounter strength of 3 heroes. And extreme encounters have a budget that is anything greater than hard. And it very much feels like this kind of encounter budgeting is their replacement for challenge rating. And I honestly like this more than challenge rating.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
There was a similar kind of XP budgeting system in 4th edition. But the reason I appreciate this is that it's a lot more freeform in terms of what encounters you should be using at what level. Challenge rating, as I've said multiple times, has a bit of a problem of assumption. And hey there, Professor, we are going through the last bit of Draw Steel tonight. But then of course we have spending the encounter budget. We talk about considering the creature level, the fact that minions come in groups of 4, the number of creatures, where it's best to not have too many. In general, you don't want more than 8 creatures per hero at a time in any encounter. Consider the star of the show, the primary target, or the priority target, as well as dynamic terrain objects. We'll get to, which you can spend your EV budget on. We'll get to dynamic terrain later. Then build initiative groups. Basically a way to make it so that you're not dealing with initiative for every single individual monster.
Unlike how I do most of my own stuff in games, if I have more than one type, I'm going to have them all under one initiative because it's basically pointless otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's what I had started doing in mine.
Yep. Then we have a quick option for it. So party size, level, and victories. Then buy creatures to fill hero slots. Each hero slot can be filled with a certain number of creatures. 8 minions fill 1. 2 hordes fill 1. 1 platoon fills 1. 1 leader or elite fills 2. And 1 solo fills 6, plus 1 for each level the creature is higher than the heroes.
So that's where they put the archvile.
Mm-hmm. For a trivial encounter, subtract 2 hero slots, and only creatures of the hero's level or lower. For an easy encounter, subtract 1 slot and use only creatures of the hero's level or 1 level higher. For a standard encounter, use creatures of the hero's level or 1 level higher. You can add 1 more hero slot if none of the creatures are a higher level than the heroes. For a hard encounter, add 2 slots. Use creatures of the hero's level and up to 2 levels higher, or up to 1 level higher for solo creatures. You can add 1 more hero slot if not all the creatures in the encounter are a higher level than the heroes. And for an extreme encounter, add 4 more hero slots, then fill all those slots with creatures of the hero's level or higher.
Oof!
It is extreme, and I'd say about as extreme as Sky Tunnels.
Yep.
Here, catch.
God damn it, Meldra.
Hey, come here. No.
But you also include 1 or 2 dynamic terrain objects. And 2 or 3 if you're dealing with hard or extreme encounters. Use only objects of the hero's level or lower. Then a bit of thing on using the different creature roles, which we kind of already went into, and of course using a map. I like that they make clear you don't have to be a master artist to create a great tactical map. Then we have encounter objectives, which is basically the win and fail conditions, as well as how many victories you get for completing the encounter. Because wiping the monsters out shouldn't always be the objective. But depending on the objective, it might modify difficulty. It will certainly give you a certain amount of victories, and of course, you do have a fail state. But we have diminished numbers, which is self-explanatory. Defeat a specific foe, so fuck that guy in particular. Get the thing. Which I guess you could consider that like capture the flag. which defeat a specific foe that can change the difficulty, and same with get the thing.
Get the thing.
And destroy the thing. The thing.
Destroy the big gun.
Yeah, is an object with destroy the big gun. Is an object with stamina equal to the hero's level times 35.
I didn't know this was League of Legends.
And save another. Fortunately, not do the full escort part of an escort mission, because nobody likes escort missions.
And if you say you do, you're wrong.
Speaking of which, escort. So if you want to take that approach, or hold them off. Current objective, survive.
We must protect this house.
We must protect this house.
Or assault the defenses. Which one kind of thing that I would like to do in a future campaign is do some sort of thing where you are part of a siege and have to do the different kinds of objectives in the attack part or the defense part of a siege. And with the protect the house at all costs. We need to protect the briefcase. But if I have to give an example of what I mean by the whole running a siege in tabletop form, think of the Battle of Helm's Deep, and you'll be close to the mark. Let's see, and then stop the action, which is self-explanatory. Complete the action, also self-explanatory, and combined objectives, which is just about combining the objectives here. Then we have a bit of advice on running the encounters. I do like that they point out, play nice even if you don't play fair. It might be tempting to keep a flying monster far out of reach of the heroes, or popping that third villain action at the start of combat, or causing rocks to fall from the sky every turn. But the less the heroes can do about any specific situation, the less involved your players will feel in the game. Use any tricks you can think of to make combat exciting and to challenge the players, but make sure that the challenges can always be overcome. I'd say that is a good call to make.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've had those GMs who try to abuse that kind of thing in the name of challenge, when really they're just being that guy.
It's kind of like what I did during Ghosts. Originally, your boss fight was supposed to be 2 vampires, but seeing as how you kind of struggled with the undead, I was like, you know what, I'll change it to 1.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really all about just being adaptable.
Why, literally, like, you make it so that, you know, your monsters, even if they may not run away, you let them run away, or you do things like that, especially if your heroes are like struggling or something. You're like, oh well, crap, I put 6 of these draconian warriors on there, and my barbarian that never dies is almost dead. What have I done? You know, and you can make things. You gotta just, you know, play it to the field.
This is why I've said many times that there is a galaxy of difference between people who just theory craft regarding games and people who actually play.
Mm-hmm.
But
like, because in theory, you know, if you do exactly what the quote-unquote theory says for a monster, for example, that would be able to go and attack a level 35 or something like that. You do that to the letter, and you're going to absolutely destroy that poor level 35. Like, like, as I mentioned, the barbarian that has 600 health gets destroyed in one freaking attack, and you're like, what just happened? So theory doesn't always equal practice.
Mhm.
And you have to actually play test it before it will make it work. That's why I like my players so much whenever I was doing it. It's because they would they tolerated my shenanigans.
Mhm. But we also have a thing for reskinning monsters. Because even in a book chock full of monsters, you could find yourself wishing you had stat blocks for a specific kind of creature.
I can't tell you how many creatures I couldn't find in the enemy intel field guide that I just used a template of a certain monster and modified it accordingly.
Yeah.
It's not as hard to do as people like to make it out to be.
Really, it's not. Like that's the same thing with what I did with when I was my brother had been like, hey, why don't you use this in this type of campaign or this type of encounter? And I was like, I wonder if I can do that. And so I literally used the vampire and then just, changed it. So, made their least favorite monster of all time. That's my pride and joy.
Yeah. But in that particular case, I think a lot of people are used to not having that thing as a base, or having it that you have to look at the monsters and use them as written. But of course, we also have a thing on adjusting levels, which there's no way to be most refined with it. But here's it. But we have some modifiers to the EV of a monster if you want to change its role or organization, which will change both its damage and its role modifier, as well as one for organization. And then equations for not encountering, but generating stamina, the damage and power roll tiers, as well as characteristics. So there's ways to upgrade or downgrade monsters. But
which having that is really handy because of just like, what if you want to fight something that's like, your character, your players can't do it, but you're like, this would be really fun to put against them, but they're too low level. So okay, let's modify it. Let's have some fun with it.
Yeah. Or you could be like me
or vice versa,
and put people against 20th level kobolds and watch them be shocked when they end up wiping.
Okay. I have a funny thing with that. We were a level 20 party, all right? And our paladin was just absolutely full of himself. And he goes in, and they are literally like level 1 kobolds, not even joking. They shouldn't have zero chance of hitting us. This guy, so freaking confident, goes in and almost gets the tank, a paladin, level 20, gets himself almost killed by level 1 kobolds.
I can do you one better. My first time running 4th edition, I put the party up against kobolds. This was a decently equipped party of 6. They wiped because they assumed that you could just bum rush them.
Those are some beefy kobolds, then.
They weren't that
bum rush
beefy.
kobolds on the best of days.
They weren't that beefy, but they knew how to abuse shift.
Oh God. Yeah, that could be a problem really quick.
Mm-hmm.
I think what our guys did was, I think what Eris ended up doing was he gave kobolds a fire breath or something like that. Just slightly gave him one thing more, and
I didn't do anything.
all the rest of us were like, nope, we ain't doing that. I don't know. He had something where he was setting the paladin on freaking fire, and we have no idea if it was just they spilled some oil and threw a torch down, which I think might have been it, but it was something ridiculous.
But
Something that should not have happened. Let's put it that way.
Then we have the monsters proper. First off, this separated between different echelons. And one of the first ones they show is the strongest one possible, Ajax the Invincible. Oh, just for the fuck of it, aside from the fact that Ajax has shown up in this book multiple times and in this series multiple times.
I was looking at this monster. He scares me.
You have the fact that he has a tactical stance approach here, as well as several different malice features, which we have reason 2 malice. Ajax attempts to instill doubt into a creature within line of effect through logic and reason. The creature and Ajax make an opposed reason test. If Ajax wins, he chooses to either deal 11 extra damage to one target on his next strike, or to gain an additional triggered action during the current round. He can't use this feature against the same creature during the same encounter. Or Nexus Jewel. Costs 5 malice. Until the end of the round, he chooses one of the following environments he has previously visited and overlays that environment on top of the encounter map, temporarily merging multiple realities. Incredibly high above the ground, the winds whip and bluster. Any creature who can't fly takes a -3 penalty to stability, and forced movement effects gain a +3 bonus to their distance against such creatures. Swamp. The ground is difficult terrain for enemies. Any creature who starts and ends their turn in the same space is restrained, save ends. Or Volcanic Canyon. The air is stiflingly hot. Each enemy takes 5 fire damage for each square they enter. Or Solo Action. Costs 5 malice. Ajax takes an additional main action on his turn. He can use this feature even if he is dazed. Or Draw Steel. Costs 10 malice.
Take a drink.
I see what you did there.
Yep. Area is 4 3-square cubes within 10 squares. Targets each enemy and object in the area. Each target makes a test using their highest characteristic. Tier 1, 26 damage, bleeding and slowed. Tier 2, 22 damage, bleeding. Tier 3, 16 damage. Ajax then raises his Blade of the Gull King above his head as 4 giant blades emerge from the ground to fill the area. Each target is pushed into an unoccupied space adjacent to the area after the power roll is resolved. Each blade locks line of effect and can be dismissed by Ajax at will. I can see what they meant by the 3 tiers of malice abilities. His reason is fine. Nexus Jewel and Solo Action, those are now we're getting concerned, and then Draw Steel comes up. And the Blade of the Gull King, as far as the signature ability, can cause a target to lose recoveries. What the fuck? Then again, he is a level 11 solo with 700 stamina.
What this feels like to me is that you went and so he's the movie is called Draw Steel, right? And he's the guy that you put on the poster that they're going up against. The heroes are going up against this guy. Just this guy.
Well, that's kind of what
Neris
and
salivating.
you know,
my barbarian Neris is salivating right now.
It feels like, you know, you've got, and I'm not saying like in a bad way or anything. It's like that superhero movie or something like that where they show the bad guy on the poster, and then they say Draw Steel, and then, you know, they're fighting at the end of it, and he like actually says Draw Steel, and everybody in this theater just takes a shot. I like it.
But
He's obscene, but I like it.
and of course we do have with the normal monsters we have variations on each. Like with the Angatals we have the Cleaver, which is a ambusher minion. Polywog, which is a Harrier minion. Dart, which is a artillery minion, and Clawfish, which is a brute minion. It is encounter value 3 for 4 of them. Remember, encounter value is the points that you're spending to build an encounter.
Okay.
We also have Needler, which is a horde artillery, and Slink, which is a horde ambusher, and Wave, which is a horde controller, as well as a sidebar
like these
on
guys.
tactics. And this is very much straight out of 4th edition, along with giving a few sample encounters and their encounter value. And a leader with the Angaltil Daybringer, with an EV of 12.
Okay, I like these guys. They are frogs.
I like all of this so far just because it's like it doesn't just feel like, okay, well, you know, just because this is a level 1 doesn't mean that it's, you know, that it gives you stuff for level 1s, you know, like a leader for level 1s and a solo for level 1s, and it gives you like all the things like that.
Hey, I found Tabby on page 43.
I can go with that. I did like to destroy the little halfling. I eat it.
I didn't know you were a lynx.
Usually I am a dragon cat, but we'll go with that today.
But
I like the arcs too. That one's really cool looking.
But shifting into that, I want to jump straight into dynamic terrain. So we're not going through all of the monsters individually.
Oh, but those ones, the Chimera is really cool too.
So dynamic terrain is essentially terrain with its own stat blocks. Each dynamic terrain object has an encounter value. Some objects have a cost representing an area, such as a 10 by 10 square section of terrain. A hazard can always be smaller than that indicated size. And we have stamina, self-explanatory, size, also self-explanatory. Direction, if they have a defined direction, they have to be placed. Deactivate, the circumstances in which it can be deactivated. Activate, which is the circumstances for it to be activated. Effect, a terrain object's effect entry. Upgrades, where terrain objects can be upgraded to add additional effects. You also have the possibility of hidden ones. And these take the form of environmental hazards, fieldworks, mechanisms, power fixtures, siege engines, and supernatural objects. Environmental hazards is exactly what it sounds like. I like that the first one we have is Angry Beehive. So with the combine Angry Beehive with Brambles, and you can have the Nicolas Cage cage.
Not the bees!
Not the bees!
Let's see, we have liquid hot magma, we have quicksand, we have toxic plants. Then fieldworks are military fortifications. Let's see, we have archer's stakes, which is self-explanatory there. Bear trap.
Great, now you're bringing back my freaking trauma from Resident Evil 4.
Flammable oil. A patch of flammable oil or pitch on the ground is ready to be ignited. Oh, shame. I've got all this napalm ammo and nobody to share it with.
So, here we go.
Let's see. A hidey hole. I do like that each of the dynamic terrain objects has their own roles. Let's see, hidey hole, a cavity in the floor, wall, or ceiling that might hold hidden threats. Or in my case, somebody steps in a hole that had a convenient blanket put over it. A Pavis shield, which is going to be fortification. Let's see, a snare trap, a spike trap, and given the rogue that I've told you guys about that I played a long time ago, a lot of this is right up my alley. Then mechanisms, things like a column of blades. Hey, do you feel like picking a fight with Ballisticraft?
No, not today, because they're invincible.
A dart trap, which hurls missiles at short range. Self-explanatory there. A stone pillar. You say stone pillar, I say weapon in the making.
Yes.
A portcullis. Let's see. Pressure plates. Good old-fashioned pressure plates. Let's see. A pulley. Self-explanatory there. A ram. I think I can enjoy that one, especially since I did do a Thorkel approach once and just had the artillery just throw logs with ram heads on them. That was it. That was his form of long-range artillery, throwing big-ass logs. And of course, switches. Stone's grind on the 7 portals.
Yeah. You just had to go for the crude joke.
Yes. Let's see. Power fixtures, which are fortifications for solo creatures and smaller forces. The more of these terrain objects that occupy the field of battle, the worse things get for the attackers. So these feel with these they are essentially a way to boost the enemies. Although someone must have been watching DBZ movies, because one of the power fixtures is the Tree of Might.
The Christmas Tree of Might? Happy Frieza Day, everybody.
Also, now that I see it, I have to point out the moving castle with a ram head sticking out of it.
Yes.
That's some Doom-ass shit if I've ever seen it.
Yes, and I love it.
It's so cool, though. Like, I've been just looking at all the pictures.
But then we have siege engines, starting with an arrow launcher, a boiling oil cauldron. Someone was playing.
That's pretty standard stuff.
Yeah, someone was playing Stronghold. A catapult.
Bolt ready, my lord.
Let's see, an exploding mill wheel. A field ballista, always nice. A iron dragon, which fires out gouts of flames. A watchtower.
So it's a napalm launcher.
Yep. A watchtower, self-explanatory. I might have it that in some of my games, I might have it that, much like in Halo Reach, you could take these static siege weapons and use them as improvised heavy weapons for a limited time. Then we have supernatural objects, starting with the Black Obelisk, which that feels like the mark. Based on the description of your fears become manifest, I feel like this is the marker from Dead Space. Then we have the Chronal Hypercube, which is a teleporting device. The Throne of Om, which is a Throne of a Sun. And just reminds me of how busted the artifacts were last week. But then we have retainers. Now, retainers are meant to be sidekicks, and you can gain them as you get character features. Like, you might get a retainer from a title, you might get it from a complication or something else. When you get renown, you might be able to choose a retainer as a new follower. Retainers don't always have to be with the party. And I remember with some of the stuff we saw last week, it might be a good idea to have retainers back at base to maintain things while you're off adventuring. But retainers count as additional heroes, as we mentioned before. They are part of their mentor's turn. If a hero can't act, then the retainer can still be controlled. On their turn, retainers can take a move action, a maneuver, and a main action, much like heroes. They have 6 recoveries. They deal with dying at 0 stamina and full-on death at -half stamina, much like heroes. And whenever a retainer gains surges, those surges are gained by their mentor, with the mentor and retainers sharing surges. The retainer spends surges the same way a hero can, but the extra damage is granted to them by spending a surge is equal to their mentor's highest characteristic score. Retainers do not get victories or XP. Instead, they have the same level as their mentor. When a character acquires a retainer, the retainer starts out with at their mentor's character level. So each time the mentor gains a level, their retainers get the same level. And as far as advancement, at level 2, a retainer increases one of their characteristic scores by 1. At level 5, they increase each of their characteristic scores by 1. At level 8, they increase one characteristic score by 1. And for each single characteristic increase, the player of the retainer's mentor chooses which characteristic to use. They gain a +2 damage bonus to free strikes at levels 3, 6, and 9. They gain new abilities at 4, 7, and 10. At each level, they get +9 stamina. And their signature ability goes up in some way each level. And we do have a nice little chart for this kind of thing. And when it comes to abilities, it's based on the role of it. So we have one set up for ambushers, where they get a new ability at 4, 7, and 10. And same for with artillery, with brute, and with the rest, as we can see. And then we have a few example retainers. With some of them being higher level than others. I think the art that we have here is supposed to be a devil defector.
Looks cool.
Mm-hmm.
All of this looks so cool.
We also have, as an example, a dwarf mortar. It looks like he's using a rocket crossbow.
I dig it.
Like, I get the feeling it's supposed to be like a very big crossbow, but the way he's holding it, I keep thinking rocket launcher.
That's because it is.
Rocket launcher.
Actually, I think I know what that thing is. It's the rivet gun.
Oh God, the Riveter.
But we have a high elf weatherwise, so for those who want to do the high elf archery for their retainer. A shadow elf shade, who is a crossbow that's firing shadow ammunition. Okay.
I dig it.
Let's see what elf. A Null Nasher. A Goblin Guide. I don't. A Hobgoblin Flame Singer. Ooh, nice. Let's see, the good old human warrior. I'm a bit distracted by the knight's mustache.
That is a glorious mustache.
I dig that shield.
Oh yeah. A kobold shield bearer. Ooh.
I like that little, like, all the stuff on that kobold. It's so cute.
It looks like
but also, like, really
he's
vicious.
wielding a gladius. Let's see. Then we have a Minotaur Gorer, which looking at the setup for it, I'm reminded of the way Minotaurs were a playable race in the Player's Handbook 3 for 4th edition. But then we have the Orc Charger, which that would definitely be a Sentinel in my game. Nope. What's a good way to charge? A big ass slab of metal.
Yes.
Let's see, a Rodden White sidekick. So a
Why does he look like he's gonna talk me with a Boston or New York accent?
I mean,
because he played Wizardry 8. Or because you played Might and Magic a bunch.
Maybe.
But then we have the Time Raider Mind Healer. And a Troll Mercenary. Although, on the page for Troll Mercenary, it feels like there should be art here. That is way too much white space.
Yeah.
Let's see, then Undead Servitor. Which, that and Unquiet Spirit is definitely having friends on the other side. And a Vampire Rebel. And ending the book with a human warrior getting assaulted by goblins. Didn't they have a whole 4th handbook on monsters playable characters? No. But that covers the... Before we get to final thoughts, what did you guys think of the way monsters work, the way dynamic terrain works, and the way retainers work? We'll start with the way monsters work, especially encounter building.
I love the different roles, not just for like squads, but individual monsters themselves. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's similar to what I do with some other stuff that, I never would have thought of. I but definitely I did enjoy what I read of it.
Mm-hmm. I could certainly see it. Like it. I know it sounds petty for me to keep bringing up 4th edition, but if I keep seeing it, I have to keep bringing it up.
I was about to say it's not petty it's right there.
Mm-hmm. What did you happen to think of it, Tabby?
I liked pretty much everything that I had on there. Is like I liked the art, I liked the stuff that was there, like I liked classes. I liked everything on it.
Mhm.
I mean, I can't complain.
Yep.
Sounds like it'd be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. But when it comes to dynamic terrain, is it just the same vibe, just as a way to um, put some new spins on the combat encounter?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I was like distracted by all of the other things. I had a moment. Don't have to be blonde, right? No, I thought that I liked the terrains. Like it's something that I did a little bit here and there from whenever I do things anyway, but like having it right there is really nice.
Mm-hmm. And what did you guys think of retainers?
Oh, those look fun. Like if you have like a 3 or 4 person party and you just get the retainers, that sounds like it would be fun. Or,
I'd say it's got a
bad.
lot more thought into it than a lot of OSR games have when it comes to followers.
Mm-hmm.
Because at that point, with the OSR stuff, at least for some of it that I've read, it feels like an afterthought more than anything.
Well,
Here,
Yeah.
the rules are a bit more defined.
the only
Yeah.
the only quote
You could
unquote
have
old
like
school game I can think of that gave some thought to followers is Axe.
Mhm.
In every other case, followers are just a very thin stat block. But
I still think this rat is going to talk to me in a New York accent and would probably get along with my with one of my Devil Tressum that I made.
I'm honestly like I was looking through a lot of the artwork and everything in it, and like there is this there's just so many cool things that were distracting me, because it's like, especially it looks like some kind of a vampire that has like just a sword, and he's like, I can't. It's amazing. Like the whole thing, just all the art is so cool.
but since that brings us to the end of this particular season, what did you all think of Draw Steel? I'll start with you, Sig.
Great. I mean, like I said, I had heard a lot about people talking a lot about Draw Steel because of Matt Colville, but that was mostly, Grogs and people in the OSR just talking a bunch of smack. But now having seen it, I definitely like it. I like everything. Pretty much everything about this is just all killer, no filler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what did you think? What did you think of it, Tabby?
So, I really I liked it in general. Like, I really liked the classes. I liked the monsters and how they're like, how you do all of the stuff with creating encounters, and the detail, yet allowing yourself to, just it's there's so much to it that allows you to have so much freedom while also having structure, that it just makes it it'd be a lot of fun to play. It'd be a lot of fun to run. It'd be just it. I really don't have complaints about this one at all.
I feel like this is like what mass combat in a TTRPG form should be. Because I mean, I feel like a lot of it is based on like big mass combat, like hex crawl stuff.
Mm-hmm. I can certainly see that. Now, for me, I think the big thing that I keep getting out of this is the sheer amount of times I kept invoking 4th edition.
Well, like I said, if the comparison is there, I mean, feel free to make it.
It is clear that fourth edition was a major influence. I think it was outright stated early on in the Heroes book. But what I also see out of this is an understanding of how fourth edition actually played with a lot of the mechanics beyond just the surface level stuff. And I mentioned this on Thursday, but I appreciate when I have some sort of limited ability that I have a way to recover instead of just resting. Because the big thing about the heroic resource is that you have a reason to keep engaging with it.
And a reason to keep using it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The big thing, however, is that this is very much not a game that's trying to do anything and everything. It has a clear design goal, and it is not straying from that design goal at any point. That helps this a great deal because of the fact that it isn't wondering about or trying to include every little thing. Even if some of those things are things that don't really fit, like those games that try to go full simulationism and include a bunch of stuff that is only going to get used in the most situational of matters.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as where I'd put this game in my grading system, this is a very easy, strongly recommended.
Oh, yeah.
It knows what it wants to do. It does exactly that and nothing else. But this isn't a case where
I'll actually turn down my...
Where you're going... Sorry about that. Where you're going to have your particular character be confused or anything like that. You know exactly what you're doing at any given point. And it helps that it's very clear and concise about what the game is and isn't.
Mm-hmm.
And furthermore, there's just a lack of bad ways to build characters in this. I think the only if I have to really stretch it for something bad to say, it is the fact that when we looked at some of the subclasses for the casting classes in the game, some of the ones that were teased aren't in the book, but that's really scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
That's why I like it. It's just like you can do anything with it, and it's not gonna you could do the most asinine things that you would think is just asinine, and it's like no, it's not. It works, and it's like just things work together, and they're fun, and it's a lot of that kind of thing.
Oh yeah. I've tried to do that with my own systems. I know that some are like, should I really be getting away with this? And I'm like, yeah, go ahead and do it. Why are you asking me? And I definitely get that vibe here. Which is why it is, in hindsight, extremely hilarious when Ben Riggs talked about this and other games being the end of the golden age of D&D.
What the hell is he talking about?
It's just they're just jealous that 5e didn't do this. I'm just saying.
Well, he certainly is. That's all he ever talks about. But the vibe I get here is Draw Steel as a game would have come out eventually.
Mhm.
I think that the OSR debacle just accelerated the priorities. However, to all those who are covering the game besides me, please, for the love of merciful Buddha, stop calling these games D&D alternatives or D&D killers. Nothing good
Because
ever
it's
came
not.
from calling a game a blank killer.
That's
And
never the goal.
no, it was never the goal. I do not think the goal was to unseat D&D like some pundits want the goal to be.
This is like, it's like you said, this is clearly trying to be its own thing, and I respect the hell out of it for that.
Yeah. I certainly have been drawing some parallels, especially to 4th edition, but that's just because the DNA is so blatantly obvious that I couldn't not bring that up. And the fact that the way everything is set up, this is you could only set it up in this way if you were familiar with D&D 4th edition through a lengthy amount of time playing it. And Hydra, I'm not interested in unseating D&D. The only people who want to have that conversation are pundits and bad actors. And both of them can fuck right the hell off. But with that said, if you haven't grabbed Draw Steel yet, I do highly recommend it.
Now it's on my list for sure.
Yeah. I did back it during its backer kit run, and I did back the Crack the Sun campaign that's currently running. Now, when that Beastheart class comes out, will we revisit this? Possibly, but I don't think it'll be on the Friday slot for the Valley of the Judged. It would be a special. Which is more of a way of saying I'll do it when I get it. But when it comes to the setup we have here, I find it funny that there's this whole debate about characters being too powerful or too superhero-y, and look at what Draw Steel is doing for every level 10 character. But that being said, looking to the future, next week we'll be looking at one of Alex T's projects, Path of the Aramthir. I might have a lighter one-shot thing as a lead-in for that. I haven't figured it out yet. Path of the Aramthir he describes as a progressive fantasy, and I think this will be the first time that you two have seen Alex T's work.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason I keep highlighting his stuff, and I will continue doing that until he actually makes a bad game. I don't know. Maybe I'll end up making some quote and then DM him it later, saying I dare you to put this on the Drive to RPG page. But after that, the day after Christmas Day, we will be beginning a look at Magic Punk. Now, Magic Punk is a translation of a Japanese TTRPG that I've had for a fair bit of time. I know TG was bitching about it earlier because it wasn't punk enough, i.e., it wasn't Shadowrun enough for them. This is why I don't respect Grogs. And the only reason I haven't covered Magic Punk sooner is because of the embargo. I didn't have to honor the embargo, but I chose to anyway, because I am not.
You did it out of respect.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did it out of respect.
Especially since Lord knows, I'm not going to be able to campaign enough to get official translations for a lot of stuff. And I am very, very grateful to the translators who are putting in the hours. But speaking of that, on Sunday there's going to be a double feature. Early in the afternoon, I'm going to be on with the Untold Destiny crew discussing Legend Edition. And then shortly after that will be the Record of Swordforged Worlds, where we'll be discussing the player-facing side of the mechanics of Sword World 1.0. I will also note, when we get into January, I will be putting Swordforged Worlds on temporary hold for a few weeks. Instead, we'll be doing reflections of Gaia, which is going to be in a similar format to what we've been doing with Swordforged Worlds. It's just going to be covering the Spanish TTRPG Anima.
Sounds awesome.
Anima has been subject to a lot of hyperbole about how janky and overcomplicated its system is, but I always feel like it's being said from people who have D&D brain rot. And I want to use that as an opportunity to correct the record, especially since next year Zan and I will have been business partners for about 10 years. And a lot of it really started with my review of Anima several years ago. So keep an eye out for that. But until then, on behalf of the good brothers present and not present, my name is Mildra. I am your gaming monk. Stay fucking frosty, everybody.
See you on the trail.
Take care.
Thank you.